The HAVN HS420 case has received quite the positive reception among other YouTubers, and it has been dubbed the best case of 2024. Well, today we're gonna be building in it, and I know I'm late to the party, all right? I'm sorry. So the budget of this PC isn't important at all because this is more of a showpiece build. So I'm not gonna be min-maxing and I'm not gonna be going with high-end components. In fact, for the CPU, I'll be going with the Intel Core Ultra 7 265K processor. And the main reason why I'm going with this is so I could have an excuse to pair it with the Gigabyte Aura's Z890 Aero G Creator motherboard. Really the only reason why I'm going with that CPU. Man, Gigabyte really does make the best looking motherboards. That is so gorgeous. It's gonna fit beautifully with the white theme I'm going for, but we're gonna add a splash of color in there, so it's not gonna be all white. I know people are gonna comment already, hey, stop with the white builds, dude, you're driving me insane. We're gonna add some color, okay, promise you. So for memory, we're keeping it simple with a 64 gigabyte kit using the Corsair Vengeance RGB, and this is running on 6400 megahertz. And then for storage, we are going with a simple 4 terabyte NVMe drive on the Gen 5 interface. So we're gonna have wicked fast speeds on this system. And I'm going with Windows 11 Pro for the system, and I got the key from VIP or cdkey.com because why the hell would I pay over $100 for one? They do sell keys for both Windows 10 and 11, and if you guys plan on picking one up, use the code TS20 for an extra discount. After checking out, visit the User Center section on the top right page, then navigate to your orders and click on the reveal key so that you can copy and paste this into the activation settings of Windows, and you're good to go. I missed the tape. I legitimately missed the tape. Oh my goodness, I forgot to install the CPU. This never happens. It never happens because I never used an insignificant CPU before. Oh wait, no, I have. Huh, I could have sworn the specs are higher on the new CPU compared to the older generation of chips. Must be an editing mistake. Can you feel? I don't feel anything actually. It's a dud. Intel watching this video right now, I'm sorry guys, okay? You brought this upon yourselves, okay? I'm just a messenger. All right, let's bring in the case that I'm going to be building in. Ladies and gents, this is the HAVN HS420 VGPU version, meaning it comes pre-equipped with a vertical GPU bracket. However, there is a base version that comes without a vertical bracket and without the 45-degree angle bracket on the bottom. So it really comes down to your preference. However, it's very important that you follow their fan optimization guide. This case is heavily designed around optimal airflow, and that will depend on how many fans you are going with. The HS420 can fit up to 11 fans, which is insane. So I'll be going with 11 fans inside the case just so I can maximize the case's full potential. And I'm also gonna toss in this curved glass piece on the bottom, just so we are directing the airflow towards the graphics card. All right, let's get inside this case. Just even picking up the case from the ground and putting it on this table, I can already feel that they did not cheap out on the materials. This is one quality case, just off of first impressions. So we got a couple of screws on the top here that we got to remove, and these are in place to prevent the side panels from moving and getting damaged during shipment. And then you pop it open. Oh, I love the sliding mechanism they added here. That was actually cool. Let me try that again. Oh, it just slides in place. I've not seen that before. I don't think HAVN is the first company to do a single piece panoramic glass panel like this. The first one I've seen was at the MSI booth in CES last year with the Maestro cases. But seeing that in person and playing around with the side panel and comparing it to this one, I have to say this one is far more superior. in terms of build quality. I'm also really digging this like minimalistic sci-fi vibe that the case is going for. And I think that's one of the reasons why this case stands out visually compared to all the other cases that I built in. I mean, we got super precise CNC machining all throughout the case. There's this beautiful power supply shroud on the bottom that offers a vent-like design to pass through the cables for a clean and modern look. And we got tons of cable management features, including this Simply cable routing system that runs from the top of the case towards the back. Whoa, we got fan headers back here. We got 2 fan headers. They included 2 fan headers. There's one on the top and another one on the bottom. Looks like this can fit 5 fans each. So we're talking 10 total fans. And I love how the channels over here are labeled and color coded. Like this one over here is recommended for the 8-pin EPS cables, and the one on the bottom here is recommended for the front IO, USB, and other miscellaneous cables from the motherboard. That is refreshing to see, I gotta say. So one of the downsides of having the vertical GPU bracket already pre-installed inside the case is that we're gonna have to remove it to gain access to the motherboard tray. So let's go ahead and pop this out real quick. Okay, there's a bit of a flaw with the vertical GPU bracket if you want to remove it. Unfortunately, the only way to remove this piece to gain access to the motherboard tray is by removing these 3 screws here. And the only way you can remove them is by sticking a very long and narrow screwdriver through these holes, as you can see here. This is the only way to gain access to those screws in the back here. It's a similar problem to the ROG Hyperion case that I built earlier this year. Like, this wouldn't have been a problem if they included this screwdriver or something like it with the case purchase. Like, what would have happened if I didn't have one of these laying around at the office? I would have to go out and buy a screwdriver just so I can remove the vertical GPU bracket. That is very inconvenient. And definitely something you guys should consider if you're going with the VGPU version compared to the basic version. All right, yeah, the whole piece just comes off like that very easily, but I wish they would either include this or they should make the holes a little bigger. This is not big enough to pass through my electric screwdriver, nor is it big enough to pass through my other one. The only other screwdriver in this studio that I have is the 150-piece precision screwdriver bit, because this one actually has a neck piece that can be extended. Wait, does this fit? Okay, yeah, this one fits. You're gonna need something like this to build inside the VGPU version. All right, cooler time. We're gonna be tossing in the Corsair iQ Link Titan 360 RX LCD AIO. That is a lot of words, my lord. Yeah, the top bracket does support up to 420mm radiator. Actually, all the brackets support up to 420mm radiators, but this is the biggest that Corsair sells in the RX lineup of fans. And since we're gonna be using the new reverse blades from Corsair, I want everything to be cohesive. So that is why I'm going with the Titan 360 instead. And this is also their new cooler as well. So we'll be installing this on the top bracket. I can technically remove these 2 screws and lift up the entire bracket to make the installation easy. But honestly, we have so much space that it's not necessary. Also, the more I'm building in the case, the more I'm finding about stuff. So like, they have anti-vibration pads on all the screws. They got some for the top bracket, they got some for all the fan brackets in the back, and even the SSD tray. Like, this entire piece has anti-vibration pads. Like, the attention to detail they put into this case is seriously unmatched. All right, I'm gonna toss in the power supply next. We'll be going with the Corsair RM1000X in white to stay consistent with the theme. Also, 1000 watt is a bit overkill for this system because we're not going with high-end components, but it's still nice to future-proof. I guess they didn't design this case with shift power supplies in mind, because this is clearly not gonna work. That is a massive oversight on my end. Wow, okay. Yeah, that's definitely not gonna work, unfortunately. All right, so unfortunately, this is the only power supply that was in my inventory, so we're gonna have to go with this if I don't wanna delay the PC for another few days. Just don't crucify me in the comment section, okay? I know it's in the color black, but we're not gonna see it because it's gonna be tucked away in the back. Fortunately for me, I already have cable extensions ordered, so we were gonna cover the stock cables regardless. I think we're gonna need this fan hub. Kind of getting in the way of the EPS cables, so let's just remove it. There we go. Now we got room to breathe. Oh my God, that cable path. This is awesome. So check out the cable management real quick, guys. I'm kind of proud of myself. We got the EPS cables coming out of the power supply, going through the bottom raceway, 90-degree bend towards the top, all the way through the vents and into the motherboard from the front. I'm really digging the system. My only gripe is I wish they would make it a little wider, because we've only connected 2 sets of EPS cables, so 2 8-pins, and we're already reaching the capacity. Like, I don't know if I can fit in another set of cables through here. So it would be nice to maybe make this wider by like another centimeter or 2, just so I can fit in a few more cables. But yeah, other than that, I approve the cable management system. So check this out. After running the cables through the grommet, we can see some gaps, right? That clearly does not look good, but that's what these clips are for. All we gotta do is bring it up to tighten the gap. That is freaking genius. Why didn't anyone come up with this sooner? All right, guys, we're now finally getting into the fun part of the build, which is the cooling, right? Because this case has been designed with an emphasis around airflow and cooling, so we gotta do it right. We're gonna toss in the new Corsair LX series fans, some of which are the reverse blades, which they came out with recently. I don't know why Corsair is always late to the party. Like, Leonie started the whole daisy chaining fans, and then Corsair was like right there behind them. Now they're finally doing reverse blades. I don't know what's taking them so long to jump on the hype, but nonetheless, we're gonna be throwing in some reverse blades in here because that's how the case has been designed for. If we want to take advantage of the airflow on this vertical bracket, we have to go with reverse blades on the bottom here, as well as reverse blade fans on the side over here. So to access the bottom bracket here, we just have to remove this one screw on the back here. And then I think we just lift it up. Oh, beautiful. So the bottom bracket can support up to a 420mm radiator, or it can slot in triple 140mm fans. And I feel like we can take advantage of the surface area and put in 140mm fans in each slot. So these are the reverse blades. This will be sitting right here on the top. But first we gotta connect them, of course. Oh, this is gonna look so nice. Okay, so the fan filter lives on the bottom of the case, and it's actually really easy to access. All you gotta do is lift down here, slide it out, give it a nice good clean, and then slide it back in. Super convenient. But check out this clever design on the bottom bracket to hide the cable. So back here, we have 3 different cutouts, and this will give you the option of passing through the fan cables. So it doesn't matter which end we plug this in, we could simply run the cable through one of these holes, just like that. And we gotta pass it through this hole in the center. Very nice. So according to the fan configuration recommendation of the case, we have to put in a rear intake fan on the bottom here if we're using the angled bracket on the bottom. Uh-oh, we ran into our next issue. Actually, 2 issues. Apparently, HAVN did not take into account the Corsair IQ link fans, because these cables are much thicker than a traditional like 3-pin or 4-pin fan header cable. And at the edge of it, the connectors are also fairly wide. So the holes over here to pass through the cables are not big enough for these connectors, but also there's no space for me to plug in one end of the cable. As you can see here, there's barely enough clearance. So there's 2 issues here. Number 1, there needs to be more clearance from the top of the fan to this cutout over here for the PCI bracket. And number 2, the holes to pass through the cables need to be a little wider. I wonder if the top has the same issue. I guess we'll find out. So we're gonna have to find out another way to mount this, unfortunately. Let's go ahead, plug the cable in first, see if that makes a difference. Oh, we were just off by like a few millimeters. Okay, so we can't do that. Let me rotate it to the side. So it'll work on the side, I think. Bruh. Oh no, the side doesn't work because now it's hitting this portion over here. Oh my God. Okay, what else can we do? Maybe bottom? Oh, this actually works. Yeah, this works. So let's just go all the way under. Now what do we do with this cable? There's no way to route. Oh, maybe up here? No, it's so small. So close, yet so far. We can go in from here, but then the rear panel won't close. Oh my God, why is this so difficult? That is unfortunate. We can't plug this fan in. You know what, let me bring the rear panel in and install it just to have a better idea of what options I have. Okay, so we can bring the cable out from here. Oh, we can't bring it back in here, unfortunately. We got a loose cable. Wow, that is unfortunate. What do we do? I'm stumped. I'm actually stumped.
One eternity later.
Your boy has finally figured it out. Check this out. So we plug the cable in the bottom and we route the cable through this little hole and underneath the case, all right? Then we have to take this cable and run it underneath the bottom fans and out this hole so that we can plug it into the first fan, because at the end of the day, we are daisy chaining the fans together. So we gotta start from the first one and then plug it into this set of fans and then out from here and back into the case so we can plug it into the other fans. Luckily it fits through this hole and then bam, just like that. Not the prettiest solution, but unfortunately it is the only solution. Now let's grab the other end of the cable and then run it through the back of the case. I really do wish Corsair gave us right angle connectors or give us the option to switch these out, because sometimes we need that right angle connection to have really clean runs, but unfortunately this is the only way right now. Then we grab our fan filter, carefully slide it back in. Beautiful. Oh man, that was definitely a workout. So let's go ahead and work on the rear fans. We definitely don't need the SSD trays, so we're gonna remove all of this. But if I were to install storage devices, this is where I would install them. And there's even some space over here on the right side, but we're not gonna need it for this build, so let's go ahead and remove this. So yeah, basically the SSDs would sit on this tray inside. So you can fit one SSD inside and then you could attach one more SSD on the outside here. So you can do total 8 SSDs with this entire tray, or you can do 4 full hard drives. Again with the vibration pads, check this out guys. I did not expect to see them over here where you would slot in the fan bracket. They really did thought of everything. Well, almost everything. Oh, look at this, look at this. Barely made it. I had to shift the entire set of fans all the way to the top to make room to plug the cable in from the bottom. Look at that. That is a very tight bend. Wait a minute. If we slide this in, which I'm confident it will go through, how are we gonna connect the top fan? So the only way we can plug the cable into this fan is if we use a right angle cable. And apparently Corsair does include right angle cables in the starter kit. I am legitimately just finding out about this right now. So if we plug this one here, oh, we made it. And then we route the cable across and through the top cutout. Beautiful. And we plug it in the top fan, completing our daisy chain connection. And finally, we have to connect the last fan to the sync controller in the back. And I found out that you can actually use the right angle head and go through this cutout over here. With just enough force, you can push this through. But you can't do it with the other one for some reason. And then we're gonna route the cable through here and into the top fan. Oh, that's beautiful. Let's tighten up the slack real quick. Bam. And we are now ready for the final piece of the build, the graphics card. I'm gonna toss in the Asus TUF RTX 4070 Ti Super. All right, before I install the graphics card back in the case, I do wanna make use of this curved glass. That way we're redirecting the airflow back into the graphics card. And the only way I can install this is by removing the bottom set of fans. I think I'll remove this like 4 times throughout this entire build. So this goes in from the back. Okay, we did it. We actually did it. Now let's pop the vertical GPU bracket back in place. We do get a Gen 5 riser cable, so that's awesome. I just wish the cable wasn't white, but again, very minor nitpick. Okay, so now that the PC is done, I do have some things I want to say about the case. But first and foremost, god damn, that looks beautiful. It's been a while since a PC has impressed me this much, I'm not gonna lie. It just looks so unique with the white sci-fi aesthetic, and I'm all for it. One thing I did forget to mention is that if you decide not to install any storage devices or fans, you can use the included VESA mount and install up to a 14-inch display over here on this side, which is pretty cool. Now, in terms of thermals and noise, I mean, I expected a PC to run cool, but I didn't expect to see how low the temps are all around. Gaming on the finals in 1440p, I saw peak temps of 56 degrees on the CPU and 60°C on the GPU, all while remaining extremely quiet. Was the angle bracket necessary to achieve such low temps? Absolutely not. I mean, I know it helps by like a few degrees in my testing, but it's not significant to a point where you absolutely must have to install the bracket and the curved glass. Honestly, it comes down to just aesthetics, in my opinion. If you go with the base version, then the bottom will look a little empty without the angled bracket. And if you go with the VGPU version, then the build will look more full, and you're able to mount the GPU vertically, which I think looks the best personally. But yeah, the angled bracket and the glass looks cool, but honestly, it doesn't bring much to the table. Aside from that, the case does have its own set of flaws. Not major flaws, but definitely something that's worth mentioning in this video. I wish HAVN would include a long, thin screwdriver so that I can remove the vertical GPU bracket easier. I also wish the cutouts near the back for the cable routing were a little larger to pass through thicker cables like the Corsair iCUE link fans. And maybe some support for power supplies that have the connectors on the top like the Corsair Shift series. What does HAVN have against Corsair? I'm noticing this now, but most of the issues are with Corsair products specifically. And I know it's only a matter of time before someone buys this case and tries to install Corsair products only to be frustrated in the process. So that's why it's very important for me to mention these here in the video in the hopes that HAVN would watch this and take the valuable feedback and refine their amazing case. And it really is, it's an amazing case, and I would really, really love to do a full custom loop in here in the near future. I think it will look incredible. But yeah, everything I talked about will be linked down below if you guys want to check it out, including the case. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys very soon in the next one.